Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now we are ready to close out September, but before we do, as we always do here on the show, we must first complete our Q&A. So you know the deal here. Riddler goes up, and we will run through your questions that you drop down below. You know, maybe the Riddler will be your Halloween costume to close out next month, inspired by the show itself. But anyways, we've got everything here from, you know, the Amex Marriott changes and the Chase changes for that. We've got, you know, does the Venture X fit into a CSR Platinum status or Platinum setup? And of course, you know what to do if Amex won't approve you for another card. All that and more. So of course, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now I'm going to be reading the questions in no particular order, just the order they came in from the comment section. So chapters tool down below if you want to jump around. But they hate me is leading off. I have so many follow-up questions for your username, but we don't hate you here because you took the time to write in. So thoughts on the Amex Marriott brilliant changes. So I'll link a full video down below where we cover all the changes, both Chase and American Express, in one video for you. But specific to the brilliant, that went up from a $450 annual fee to a $650 annual fee. They added Platinum, Marriott Platinum Elite status, and an 85,000 point reward night. And of course, they have some spend bonuses on the card as well. And that is quite a lot of spend. You know, I do think it's an expensive card. For me, it's a little bit tough to say, hey, I'd want to spend $650 on one card and be totally committed to the Marriott ecosystem versus maybe going a Platinum. And yes, you wouldn't get Platinum status, a lot of Platinums in the sense. You wouldn't get a lot of Platinum Elite status at Marriott. You'd get Gold, but you'd be able to do between Hilton and Marriott and have a lot more flexibility with MR points and straight Bonvoy points. But if you're into Marriott, maybe you're a Road Warrior consultant where it doesn't necessarily matter as much because you're probably billing the annual fee to a client anyways, then I do think the Brilliant turned out to be the better of the cards, because the other cards, the new $250 fee cards, you actually have to spend your way $15,000 a year to your rewards nights, where more often than not the rewards nights are just given to you on anniversary. So for me personally, it's not for me. The Brilliant's a little too expensive. It's a little too much to pay to be locked into one hotel chain. But again, if you're that person, Road Warrior, I do think Brilliant works because of what you get. The only real downside there is that they did tweak the tweak the property credit to be from a $300 property credit, which is very easy to use, to a $25 a month dining credit. Now that change happened a while ago, in fairness, but that does hurt a little bit. But overall, I think that's who that card is for, and I do, weirdly enough, like it better than the other ones that they did. Ballin'. Here we go. Next up, any plans on doing an updated ranking video for credit card issuers? So he's right. I did Chase and American Express because those are the ones people wanted the most. I did those earlier in the year, so I can dig those up and I'll link those down below. We should probably do Citi. I mean, I think the ones worth doing would be like a Citi, maybe a U.S. Bank, maybe Capital One. Maybe those would be after that the competition in the catalog goes down a little bit. Yes, we can do some more of those for sure, considering we just did the two big ones here. But yeah, for the most part, I've been kind of like going back and like filling in the content gaps that I have. So you probably have noticed that we go through and do a lot of more of the one-on-one stuff that I skipped over, stuff that I think people still have questions on but don't necessarily ask as much. But yeah, we can get some of those going. I'll link the two that I've done this year down below as well. And then we could probably just do issuer versus issuer as well. That could be an interesting one. So yes, more tier list to come. I will put it on my list of video topics for you. Ben Latempa checking in. It's been a long time. Sorry, been an MIA. That's okay. Some people have lives, or so I hear anyways. Was wondering what's your thoughts about the Venture X. Already have the CSP and the Amex Business Platinum. Is it worth it, or am I seeing it too much in my feed? Always appreciate it. Well, I appreciate you, making some time for us, sir. The Venture X on its own is a really good card. I like it. It's my card of the year last year. I think it comes down to, you got the CSP, so it's one of those cards, like, yes, in year one, obviously, but as far as keeper cards, I tell people, if you already have a heavy Chase setup to support the Sapphire Preferred, then long-term, no, you probably don't need the Venture X. Same with the Platinum. I mean, if you're wanting business Platinum, you've got the Gold supporting it as well, or you're already heavy Amex transfer partners like a Delta or a Hilton or a Marriott, I guess, to our last question, then no, it's probably not a keeper card. I think the Venture X is really good at being like your one and done travel card for someone who isn't super established yet in having a ton of cards, because you could still go Venture X and you could go Savor Rewards, whatever the no annual fee one is. You got yourself quite a setup there, honestly. Now, so yeah, it's a year number one and for the 100,000 miles for sure. But if you've got one of those, or if you've got both of those already, I really think it's probably too much money, because between the Platinum, you can get into most lounges except for the Capital One lounges, but there's only one in existence in DFW today. So, you're not really missing out on much. There's probably too much overlap to have all three, in my opinion. But yeah, year one, and then maybe you say if you're not chase heavy, then you say I'm going to stick with the Venture X and maybe even get rid of the Platinum. It really just depends on your setup and the transfer partners that you like. But yeah, I would say all three is probably pushing it. All right, Jonathan Losa here. Does spend that is rebated via statement credit like Amex Airline Incidental, Streaming, Global Entry, Chase, GoPuff, Instacart count towards sign-in bonuses? It's not supposed to. I'm not going to tell you it doesn't. It really depends on how in-depth the issuer codes these things behind the scenes, but it's not supposed to. Similar to how if you pay like your annual fee, so you're not supposed to get any reward points, and it's not supposed to count towards a minimum spend. So just to play it safe, if you're tracking towards $3,000 in minimum spend, I would not count anything that gets rebated, and I would not count annual fees. It may end up counting. Chase gives you a tracker, I believe, nowadays, a spend tracker, so that could be the easiest way to tell. Watch the spend tracker and see what happens, but if I was doing the math on my own, just tracking it like sometimes you have to manually, I would not count any of those. Annual fees, credits, coupons, any of that stuff's not supposed to count. Because then you'd kind of be double dipping, and when we really got heavy into reward points, I think issuers went back and updated this. I know Chase for a fact went back and updated like the $300 travel credit on the CSR, so you didn't get travel points for it. So that's best practice going forward to just think like that. And if you end up spending a few extra bucks, then hey, not the worst thing in the world. Next up, we have EW here. Is it smart to ask for a credit limit increase on one card and apply for a new charge card at the same time with Amex? I mean, it's probably not the worst thing in the world. It's tough because we really don't know necessarily how much they note your account or how much they talk, right? So, I mean, I would say probably put some space in between it to be safe, but we really don't know for sure. The worst thing's going to happen is they're going to say no. But I would almost treat it like the Amex 2 and 90 rule maybe to be safe. Hey, if I just got a credit limit increase and I apply for another card, okay, cool. Then, chill out for a while. But you'd probably be fine, but I'd just to be safe and put some space in between it. It also depends on how much credit you're asking for, because the reality is, they are still on their side likely looking for red flags, because there's no context behind the decision, behind why you're asking for the card. Of course, we want the rewards. It's nice to have increased credit limits, but honestly, I don't even worry about the credit limit too much. I mean, it really even depends on what kind of card you're talking about. If this is like, you have one card, it's 20,000, credit limit. I think that's pretty good. In theory, you could also consider applying for the new you said a charge card. So, but if you had, other credit cards with them, you could transfer credit limit over and things like that. But just to play it safe, I'd probably put a little bit of time in between it, just in case they're noting it. But I don't know for sure that, they'd be that sensitive about it. All right, Jimmy James here. Have you heard of any potential upcoming changes to the Chase Ritz-Carlton card or Hilton Aspire? He knows I'm a cashback guy, but do I have any premium credit cards? So, nothing for the Aspire. The Ritz-Carlton card did get tweaked a little bit maybe a month or two ago. I think you got the same treatment that the Amex Business Platinum Business Marriott card did. I think it's like 7% off room bookings and something else. Then they did actually change the reward certificate for it to be an 85,000 point reward certificate when all the other Marriott changes happened. It happened after we made the video, so it's not mentioned there, but put it on screen for you now. Those are the only changes I know about. Nothing for the Aspire. As far as premium cards, the only one I have is like the Delta Platinum still. I ended up keeping it because they gave me a retention offer, which made it basically like a $30 card to keep. So I figured, why not? I'll probably still drop it next year. I mean, I still haven't used the companion pass. Like if I go anywhere, it's usually just solo. So it's not that the card is bad. It's more so the Delta Gold is probably better suited for me. If we're being honest, I just haven't really found a need for it. But that's my only premium card. I think everything else is no annual fee and cash back. I do end up debating, like, do I want to get another Sapphire Preferred or not? Technically, I could. Originally, I was waiting for the 80,000 point or 100,000 point offer, but we haven't seen that yet. So there's nothing on the radar really in the premium space aside from maybe picking up that again. Because I should probably have at least one travel card, one mid-tier travel card, I would think. But that's kind of what I'm rocking right now. So, and those are your Ritz-Carlton changes that I know of. So if you've heard of anyone others, as card holders, let us know down below. All right, we've got Doc here. It says, how do you think the economic slowdown and increasing federal interest rates will affect the credit card industry? Right now, they're probably looking pretty smart because, again, last year and a half, we had that big push of getting cards in people's hands, getting bonuses in people's hands, getting them spending, because originally we saw that massive decline in credit card balances, right? Because people stopped spending, they started paying their balances, which would you do when, there's such economic uncertainty that we're talking like 2020. Now we're kind of back at it again. So our old friend Jerry Powell hikes up the interest rates. Those affect, short-term loans, which again credit cards are, and they're variable. So because the banks got everyone spending and using cards again, I think they look pretty smart because now that variable interest rate ticks higher up on the balances, and they're looking pretty good. But long-term, what does it mean for us? I think I'm going to guess it'll be like a repeat of 2020 of sorts. We're starting to see it now. There's like an initial pullback of bonuses because we haven't seen that many bonuses. Insane bonuses. I just talked about waiting for the CSP 100K. Haven't seen it. We've seen 80K once at the beginning of the spring, maybe. And then, once we figure out what's going to happen, then they'll, push again and try to get more cards in more people's hands, right? Because even then, this is, definitely a much different economic environment than like 2008, which it likes to get compared to a lot. This is nothing similar. That's not the same because back then banks had no money because their balance sheet was loaded up with terrible mortgages and everything. Now they have money. I think banks have actually been holding on to money, waiting, almost trying to will a recession into existence, if we're totally being honest. So I think downtaking bonuses, things like that, or potentially could be harder to get cards. We've seen Citi be tight with their Premier and things like that because again, there's still industry sectors getting hit hard. I work on the mortgage desk for years and we're getting hit pretty hard right now with the volume just dropping through the floor. It's not uncommon, but again, because we're going into, it's not that uncommon, but we just had so many people we brought on over the last few years, so you're seeing things like that. So they might, again, slow down, see where it happens, and then ramp back up as we're known to do. That's my guess, but I wouldn't necessarily put money on my guess. Just kind of what I think is going to happen from what history has shown us. Red Sox Nation. Oh man, it's been a while. Look who's back. And with his this may be the first on topic question you've ever asked. People who watch this show often will get it. All right, let's play a game of Kiss, Marry, Kill with the custom cash, the US Bank Cash Plus, and the Chase Freedom Flex. All right, first one's not hard. US Bank Cash Plus is killed. The user interface on the card is awful. I have it. I hate updating the categories every time. Why do you make me go through a separate portal to get it, to update it? Seems silly. It's really good, but the only reason that card is really good and so loved is because it covers niche categories, right? Because I can get gym memberships and I can get utilities which are niche, but again, it splits out fast food from regular dining. There's no need to be that granular and that niche. So that card easily. I actually have all three of these cards. Custom Cash, you're probably going to want to make out with the Custom Cash, right? Just got that look about it, doesn't it? Wow, that was a weird sentence to say. I'd probably kiss that one. I'd probably marry the Freedom Flex. I think the Freedom Flex gives you the most versatility. You get the dining. You get points if you go back through Chase Travel. You get the drugstores, and you get the rotating quarterly categories. I love the Custom Cash, but it's got one trick opposed to the Freedom Flex that's, got a lot more tricks. So I think we're marrying Freedom Flex, we're kissing the Custom Cash, and the US Bank Cash Plus, we are killing that one off for sure. That was a fun game. I like that question. See, you can play along. Good for you, sir. All right, here we go. Next up, how long did it take you to get monetized? So on the main channel here, I think it was like 14 or 15 months. So what our man here is talking about is YouTube. You guys normally know, everyone usually knows you need 1,000 subscribers. And then you also need 4,000 watch hours, like public watch hours. And then all those ads that you see, then I get a cut of that. It's like a 55-45 split between the host, and YouTube or Google, right? So even if you see ads, like you take a second channel, run on the bank, that was good at times then, you do a shameless plug. We have another channel here that's like focused on, bank account bonus hunting, which pairs really nice with the credit card deal. And that channel just got to 1,000 subscribers. And if you're one of them, I thank you for it. And if you're not, well, you can go fix that right now because it'll be linked down below. But anyways, even though I have 1,000 subscribers over there, I only have like 2,700 watch hours because those videos are much, much, much shorter, like 6-7 minutes, 8 minutes is long over there because it doesn't take that long to tell you what you need to know about hunting a bank bonus, right? So, yeah, for this main channel, I think it took 14, 15 months maybe. Originally, I thought watch hours was going to be the hard one, so I would just like watch my videos over and over again. I think that counts. I mean, you're not getting a ton of views, right, because they still run commercials and things like that. But yeah, it took a while to get up to speed. It's about 14, 15 months total. All right, Boxer Kid here checking in. He says, I got Amex Gold in August and Delta Platinum in August as well. Both in 40 days hit 3,000 on Delta bonus, which I got before 3-month rule. I'm working on Gold right now. I want Amex Platinum 2 months later. He was declined, unfortunately. So he's saying, how long should he wait? Well, I mean, I think it's probably the 2 and 90 rule. I think Amex is the rule. I think I have a full video on the Amex rules. I'll link that down below for you. But Amex is like a 2 and 90 rule, right? Where basically it's like 2 approvals in 90 days, within 90 days. I think that's for business and personal, like combined. So I would probably just wait. I would also be cognizant of the pop-up jail feature, right? When you go in there to fill out your next application, it should tell you if you're eligible for the bonus or not, because sometimes we've seen it where you pick up so many cards. I mean, you're not overdoing it, right? You're talking about 2 cards trying to get your third, but we've seen it where like, hey, you hit so many cards and they're like, we're giving you a lot of bonuses, maybe we make you chill out for a while and then come back. So I think you're right, November or December or January. I mean, you also probably want to play with what the public bonus is as well, right? So even if you get to, it's been 90 days, since your first application, and that, hey, I'm only seeing 100. Well, we know that 125 and 150s are out there, so you just might want to, like, unless you just really need the card, you might just want to, like, once you get to December or January, wait until you see the bonus, and of course, hope you're not in pop-up jail. I would just be cognizant of that. But yeah, I think you got it. I mean, just give it some time, honestly, and just watch those 2 things, and you should be good. Because with this, I don't even think you could go through like a Resi link or anything like that to get around this. Because they're probably just looking at your velocity. So yeah, hang tight, give it a few, and then check back in December or January, or when you see the next best offer that interests you. All right, Nadia back in the lineup. She says, hello again. I have an Amex Hilton Aspire card and Delta Amex 2. I want to close the Delta one and stay with the Amex Hilton, but the larger credit line is in Delta. How can I change the credit line to the other without harm my credit? Great channel, and I love your black shirt. So we have a young lady watching the show, uses credit cards, and likes my shirts. Like, what do we do? Do we just get married now? How does this work? This is amazing. I hope you're real. Okay, before we get canceled here trying to be funny. So, I mean, you got a few different options. So, I mean, it could be as simple as phoning in, like, hey, Amex, I'd like to transfer credit limit from the Delta to the Hilton card if you want. You should be able to transfer between personal to personal. You just can't transfer like, you couldn't transfer from a personal Hilton card to a business Hilton card. You can't cross like that, but you should be able to transfer. Just call in and say, hey, I want to transfer. You've got 10,000 on the Delta. Say, hey, I want to transfer, 7,000 of it over to Hilton. They're not going to let you take it down to 0. I don't know how far down you can go actually, but you can transfer over credit limit. Now, if you just wanted to keep the card, like keep the line open, you didn't say which Delta cards you had, I don't think, but you could downgrade to the Delta Blue. That's the no annual fee one as well. You won't get a sign-up bonus on it, but, I mean, it's usually only like, you're only talking like 10,000 Sky Miles, give or take, so it's not the worst thing in the world to miss out on if you want to keep it. So those are really your options. I mean, I would also say, for the most part, credit limit doesn't matter as much as we make it matter, right? Like, credit limit helps because it helps with the credit utilization piece, but that really only matters if you're carrying a balance, and I'm going to guess you're not really carrying any balances if you're playing the game with the travel cards and everything. So, as long as you have like 1 or 2 cards that, hey, you could make a large purchase on, usually like your catch-all cards, they get you like a 2% or 1.5% back, I think you're fine. So, I would transfer the credit limit, then you could just close the card. That's probably the easiest way. But even if you just cut the card with the credit limit, like, it's not going to hurt you like that bad. Like, yeah, maybe a ding a little bit, but I wouldn't be that bad. Of course, given, you have a lot of other cards and other credit history, but those are your options. Just see if they'll transfer the credit limit for you however much you can. I don't know how much you can transfer off the top of my head, but if I can find it, I'll put it up for you. So there we go. Next one here, we have CJ Chunky checking in. He's just saying, hey, says, how do you always look so cool, calm, and collected? Thanks for all the updates. Because the power of editing. That's probably it, because the power of editing. No, I mean, I do appreciate it. I think it's honestly just putting in the reps and figuring out how you want to talk and convey information to people. And so by that, I mean, do I really want to do this? I might put up some B-roll of my original videos where I just have a webcam and I'm just staring at it trying to get through the information. I never deleted any of those old videos. It is hard to watch though. But again, like there was a time where I used to just make a video like every single day. Just to get the practice in because it wasn't really natural, which is weird because I talk for a living. To people though, but it's different when you're just talking to yourself and there's actually no one here. So I've tried to make it a lot more conversational. That's why like when I watch it back when I'm editing it, I'll always like write, or there'll be pauses like I'm talking to someone, right? Just trying to make it more natural. And then I think a lot of it is, how you present yourself. I think YouTube's very much a spot where you should take yourself seriously because this is a job and we're still talking about, credit decisions and things like that. But you don't take yourself too seriously, right? You're still just a talking head at the end of the day. So it should probably feel like that, like a serious, but like the answers and the information should be serious, but it shouldn't be over serious. At the beginning, I thought I was like, I'll just wear a suit, like I was going to work like a blazer and a collared shirt. But that's probably too much for YouTube. So we landed on this because it fits well to Nady's point. It's black, it's got a collar on it, but it's not overly serious, right? So this is probably way more information than you wanted, but I do appreciate the compliment. Again, a lot of it's editing, and just getting in the reps to get to this point where I can get through a sentence without having to, just stop. And I try to just make it a natural take too. Even if I mess up the words or something, I just try to keep going. So anyways, I appreciate it. Glad it's working out for you. That is all of your guys' questions answered. So of course, if you need any more additional information, drop me a line down below. If you have other questions, we can do that too. Won't ask you any more questions, so we just covered them. As always, I appreciate everyone who takes the time and writes in. So of course, if you like this, drop me a thumbs up down below. Found it particularly interesting, of course, consider subscribing to the channel because we're posting content just like this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.